Well, in a matter of like, I don't know, under a month, Pennsylvania's Senate race seemed to go from Sean Parnell versus whoever the Democrats throw to what the fuck is going on here? If you haven't been paying attention to the news in Pennsylvania the past month, it's a shit show. Dogs are flying, cats are hooking up with dogs. It's a shit show. Nobody knows what the hell is going on here. And today I'm going to try to somewhat explain what the fuck is going on here. Now, if you enjoy these type of videos, which I hope you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, and yes. We need a lot of support because recently we began suspending off of Twitter, and we're going to alt text. So follow my Getter, my Gab, follow all the above, because we have to fight back against social media censorship by big tech. So you can follow my Gab, Getter, and I will be on Trump's social media platform when it comes out. So let's get this out of the way, because there's one big elephant in the room: my somewhat support of Dr. Oz. Now, before we talk about this race in general, I want to talk about Oz for a second. Because I have to say this, everybody. I am deeply sorry for even considering supporting this guy. So if you looked at his platform, on his website, Chad. A lot of Chadness, like fight China, fight big tech, fight the healthcare establishment, all that. It seemed very good. So, on economics, Oz is probably the best Republican here. But a certain person on Twitter, I can't name his name because, YouTube with Jack Posobiec. Anyways, he exposed this guy hard. Now, again, some criticism of Oz, like, oh, well, he didn't live in Philadelphia. He actually lived in the New Jersey side. He lived like 2 minutes away from Philly. He commuted there every day. So stop this garbage that, oh, he wasn't from there. He practically was. So just stop with that. Those criticisms, I'm still saying, are stupid. But the criticisms of what he said in the past about stuff like abortion, he attacked heartbeat pills. He calls himself pro-life. Yeah, someone told me this guy is a complete and total fraud. Now, if this guy, Oz, proves himself and says that, I'm actually against a trans cult, I'm against, all abortion, then maybe, fine, I'll come back to you later. But for now, ignore Oz. I think he's a clown candidate. He's essentially the Bruce Jenner of this race. I mean, that's what it is. A celebrity running as more of a publicity stunt more than anything. So, he's not serious, and yes. But the rest of this race, though, dear God, this race is intriguing, to say the least. So, let's get rid of the clown candidates, right? David Zoot, nobody ever heard of you. Who are you? Everett Stern, just get out of here. You're not going to win. All right? He's a perennial candidate. He runs like every 2 years he runs for something. He's not relevant. And Robert Jeffries, God knows who that is. Get out of here. So we really got Burnett, Bartos, Gale, Dr. Oz, Carlos Sands. Dear Lord, this is such a weak field. And David McCormick. So that's who we got for the actual candidates, not these bullshit, candidates nobody's ever heard of. And you may get a couple other people. Ryan Costello may run. I wouldn't want that, but there's some solid options or potentially going to run, but for now, this is who we got. I mean, we are screwed if a certain candidate gets the nomination. Talk about Jeff Bartos. Anyways, so let's talk about each candidate, all right? So Dr. Oz, we know he's pretty solid in the economic issues, but on everything else, he's useless. Sean Gale, he is the best on the issues. And you have these losers on Twitter, the election mafia, they're back. I even see it when I'm banned off of Twitter. I see it. These losers say, Sean Gale cannot win because he lost in 2020. First of all, guys, he didn't run in 2020. He ran in 2019. These clowns somehow mixed up the Gales. It was like a Gale that ran in, I think Pennsylvania is 6 or something like that. But you get the point. These morons on the election Twitter mixed up Sean Gale with somebody else. Sean Gale has run for Montgomery County Commission. And He's not known a lot, but he's the best on the issues overall. And you go down here to the polling. Nobody's heard of Sean Gale. You see this? 4 to 1%. So around 3% of people would support Sean Gale. Well, just average it. 3%, and nobody's ever heard of him. So he is a solid candidate, and he does have my endorsement overall. He's the best overall candidate, but if Trump doesn't endorse him, then I have a second option. But for now, Sean Gale, all you need to know about him, best on the issues, and I think he would win a general election. He's the best candidate so far. Jeff Bartos, this guy's a fraud. This guy is a fake, a phony. I mean, just no. Just absolutely no, he sucks. Just ignore him. Another one of those guys I absolutely do not like whatsoever. Now we get to the one candidate where I'm mixed about. Carla Sands. She was the former ambassador to Denmark for Trump. And on the issue, she seems decent. But my only worry with Sands is simple. The endorsement from Brian O'Brien, I don't like that. I'm not a big fan of O'Brien. Newt Gingrich, he's fine, but Carlos Sands being a lot of support from the establishment shills of Twitter. But again, that's just Twitter. But Sands on the issue seems decent enough, America first, traditional like Trumpian Republican type, like not as good as Sean Parnell, but like one step down, like off-brand Sean Parnell. So solid on the issues, but prefer, Sean Parnell, just depressing. But Carlos Sands is decent on the issues, but not as good as Sean Gale. Now, there's one more person, because the rest of these guys are just nobody cares about. David McCormick. He's weird. McCormick is one of the more interesting candidates. He's running. That's all but certain. So he was a secretary under Bush, and immediately that should be a red flag. But you look at what he said in the past about certain things, he seems actually kind of good on the issues. On some issues, like, I think abortion he's pretty good on. Immigration, I think he's decent on. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on that, but some of the issues I saw from him, some quotes, he seems solid on. But he was under Bush, so that's why I'm saying McCormick, I wouldn't prefer it. Now, again, just because he was involved with Bush or something like that, doesn't mean the candidate's bad. I mean, Bush endorsed Josh Hawley, and Josh Hawley's one of the best senators we got. So that's why I'm saying that. Doesn't mean that McCormick's automatically bad. I saw some quotes from him. He seems decent on some issues, but we just got to see. He's going to run. But, yeah, we can just ignore that because my personal opinion is this. If Trump endorses Sands, Sands gets the nomination. If he endorses Oz gets a nomination. Gale, some ungodly miracle, gets it. It'll probably be Gale. But I do think Carla Sands will be the Republican nominee. She seems decent on the issues overall. Some things I'm questioning on. But overall, I think she's like a traditional Trumpian type Republican. Better than freaking Oz. But overall, that's what I think is going to happen. I think Sands is going to be the nominee. Now, if Trump decides to endorse Oz, he better make Oz explain some of his quotes in the past, because I cannot defend him on his quotes on abortion and other things like that. So, hopefully, that gets straightened out, but I hope that's Sands or Gale, not the other clowns. But, yeah, so Republican nomination, a shit show, but I think it's going to be like a three-way race, mostly. Sands, Oz, and Bartos, unless Trump endorses Gale. That's the only way I could see Gale making a surge. Now, that's the complicated part. The less complicated, the more simple part is definitely the Democrats. Let's be real here. These guys, only two of them are really in it. John Fetterman, big dude, the lieutenant governor, or Conor Lamb, I'm a moderate Democrat that supports light-term abortion garbage. From Pennsylvania's 17th. So, Conor Lamb is the crappy, quote-unquote, moderate candidate. John Fetterman is to the left of Bernie on some issues. That dude is a big dude who's to the left of Bernie Sanders on some issues. That's essentially what this race is. The quote-unquote moderate Democrats versus the Bernie Bros socialists, or progressives, what do you want to call them. And Conor Lamb, of course, again, the endorsements of the of course, he's getting endorsement by the establishment. That's not a surprise. But Fetterman getting endorsements of some just weird organizations. It's a weird race, but you look at the polling, it's pretty much Fetterman or Lamb. Now, this Malcolm Kanye guy, just ignore him. This guy is just a nutcase, but... And look who did that poll, by the way. It was an internal poll for the GQ research. Enough said. So, it's really between Lamb and Fetterman. Now, the interesting part of this entire situation is this. I think Fetterman gets a nomination. I do firmly believe it's going to be Fetterman. The issue with Lamb is he's kind of just there. People really don't know him that much. He's really boring. While Fetterman is a big dude that would probably beat the shit out of you in a 1v1. So, I think Fetterman's going to get the nomination here. Lamb is just Lamb. But, yes, I do believe it would be Sands versus Fetterman if the primaries were held today and the general elections held today. And I do believe Sands will become the next senator of the great state of Pennsylvania, barring Trump's endorsement or any huge changes. I mean, a couple weeks ago, it was Sean Parnell all the way. Then, sad. Very sad what happened to Parnell. But yes, I do believe it will be Sands. And again, my personal support is behind Sean Gale. But if he can't get the endorsement and if Trump endorses Sands, I'm perfectly fine with that. Oz, I recommend Trump stays away from Oz. I do not trust him whatsoever. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video, which I hope you did, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with a friend, hit the little bell, and yes, thank you guys for watching. If you did want more content from me, go follow my social media accounts because I want to be posting more there, and I'll be announcing new Discord server things soon. It's going to be pretty big when it comes out. And yes, thank you for watching.